Welcome back, everyone. Today I want to count down the top 10 best songs of the 2000s decade. With the worst out of the way, let's talk about some of the highlights this decade brought us. Teen pop era was dying down, but it was being made up for R&B and pop punk. And yes, while hip hop had an identity crisis in the decade, Southern rap took over in a huge way. Same qualifications for the best and worst lists I've done in the past, but before we begin, let me break everyone's heart that Beyonce isn't on this list. So without further ado, here is the top 10 best songs of the 2000s. Before we begin, if you want to see music bios or more good videos like this, hit the subscribe button. Also, I've started a Patreon account. On here you get more copyrighted material and they'll be uploaded 48 hours prior to YouTube. If you want to support or visit, link is in the description. And without further ado, on to our feature presentation. Before we begin, let's go through the first batch of honorable mentions. Not my favorite Aaliyah song, but it is her most successful, and once again, rest in peace. This was one of the final cuts made, and I didn't want this list to be flooded with R&B. This might go down as one of the best debut songs of all time, even though it's not the debut song that made my list. We'll get into it.
Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces pass and I'm homebound.
I thought about putting this on the list until I saw White Chicks. Yeah, but it's still a good song. Crunk took over this decade, and memes aside, this was a song made for the clubs and will get you turned. 2004 was the best year for black music, but instead, I want to shine a light on No Doubt. Yes, this was their swan song, but what a way to go out with the Talk Talk cover. And with that being said, let's get on to the real list, starting off with number 10. To close the decade, you have to really be a song that stands out and have a huge significance. So when Lady Gaga stepped into the scene, she shook up the pop game.
Just dance, gonna be okay.
I didn't know this or Poker Face was going to be here, but Just Dance for me is a more fun song. Now, when I first heard of Lady Gaga in my middle school days, I always thought she was weird, but little did I know how well her music has aged. This is a song where the content doesn't matter, it's made for the clubs, but people often forget Kobe O'Donis's role here, as he plays the role of the man or man at the club that spots women. All in all, this is a mindless, fun pop song from my middle school days, and I'm surprised how well this is aged. Number 9. From one end to the decade to the other, and while the boy band era was coming to a close, we all said, bye, bye, bye. For context, the late 90s were rough on NSYNC. They were battling a lawsuit with Creepy Lou Pearlman and ended up winning that suit. This song served as a fresh start for NSYNC, and we all know what the content is about. It's a breakup song. But what I'm going to say is kind of unpopular, but I think It's Gonna Be Me is the better song. However, that song didn't impact the decade much like Bye 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 did. But I will say, I was happy in 2024 when this song had a revival thanks to Deadpool. Now this is NSYNC's signature song. I'll take what I can get, and I'll never say bye 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 to it. Number 8. Rock pick here, and it's an important song from this band's catalog. And it was either going to be this or In the End, but Numb had more that I liked. The production is done by their DJ Joe Hunt, as this song talks about pressure and how some people want them to be this, but in the end of the day, you want to be that. But I want to shine a light on the remix with Jay-Z, because MTV did a show of unlikely collaborations, and this was the pilot. But because the finished product kicked so much ass, MTV canceled the show after one episode because Linkin Park and Jay-Z set the bar so high, what could top it? Remix or not, this is a nostalgic song. Hopefully the new lead singer can do it justice, and rest in peace, Chester. Number 7. One of the best message songs of the decade, hell, maybe of all time, and it'll never be stripped from my memory.
I am beautiful, no matter what they say.
Not gonna lie, Stripped is Christina Aguilera's best album. It is not even close. Now there's a lot of personal weight behind the scenes, but I'll save that for a later day. But Beautiful is one of the gut-wrenching and heart-hitting songs where Linda Perry writes about self-esteem. Even I struggle with that. And no matter what they say, there is worth in you. And not only with beautiful production with piano starting off with strings, and by the time that second verse come in with the drums, it is gut-wrenching. This is Christina Aguilera's finest moment, and it's a song that's still relevant to this very day. Number 6. This next song might be contentious for me, and as for a debut song, this was different.
Down, down, baby, no street in the rain,
I wanted to put a Nelly song on this list so bad, and I had some choices, except Dilemma's more of a problematic fave. It's not written well. Hot in Here had some prediction kinks. Shake It Tail Fella had that bad reindeer line. And Grills isn't Nelly's best. So what do we get with this debut single? Well, this song is the definition of putting a city on your map. In this case, St. Louis. Now, production also carries the song because it's very bouncy and fun, although that Trump line aged interesting. Still, if you want something that shook up the rap scene, listen to this as it achieved its main goal. Number 5. On my Twitter/X page, I get a lot of this artist on my timeline, and I don't know why. This icon had a rough start to the decade, but once she found her footing halfway through, this proved to be her magnum opus.
When you left, I lost a part of me. It's still so.
Hey, fun fact, did you know Mariah Carey had the #1 song of the 90s and the #1 song of the 2000s on that decade year-end list? Mariah needed a fresh start, even after a decade-long career, after her glitter and charm bracelet era failed to make noise, and We Belong Together was the perfect reset. For once, she reunited with Jermaine Dupri, who provides the production here, where she's in a breakup mode but still feels that the love is still there. And I do love that Bobby Womack reference in the second verse. And by the end, her emotions vocally take over. This was a career-saving song from a career-saving album. Sometimes, you gotta realize you can always have a second win. Number 4. Now here's one of the easiest choices to put on this list, and it's a very recognizable song from this global band. Now off topic, does anyone else feel like this song reminds you of the 2008 presidential campaign? Just a thought, but this feels odd for a rock song. It has an orchestrated vibe, if that's even a word, with bells and strings. But this song is about power and how power changes over time. But overall, this song is a masterpiece, and this is the magnum opus for Coldplay. Number 3. Okay, the last 3 songs on this list have been described as the 3 best songs of the decade, and I could agree with all of them. All of them could have been my choice for the number 1. But for this first song, it's a career-defining song for this rapper. This is the type of song that will have you wanting to run through a brick wall. The guitar riff builds up, just have you build up for that anticipation. Now for the content, I'm actually not going to get into it, because if you ever watch 8 Mile, which I have many times, and I'm unsure if I'm going to review the film or not, it basically bows with that song. Now, this won Eminem a ton of awards, including an Oscar, the first rap song to do that, and to this day, still gets me hyped. Number 2. I mentioned earlier that crunk took over the rap scene, and what could I say? When a song is good amongst the fans and critics alike, all I can say is, yeah.
Peace up, A-Town down. Yeah.
One of the biggest songs of 2004, perhaps Usher's career, as he's riding a crunk production where he spots a female and tries to score. But the future guest really comes through, with Lil Jon hyping up the listener with his catchphrase, and Ludacris, even though he's more explicit in his encounter, his wordplay come out as some of his best. No wonder why he kills every feature. But this was a moment, one of, the best Crunk and B song of all time. Fantastic song, but somehow not my number 1. Before we get to number 1, let's go through the second batch of honorable mentions. I always thought this song kicked a little ass. No wonder it's one of Kelly Clarkson's best.
Oh, baby, when you talk like that, you make a woman go mad. So be.
Another song, I Am Hurt, leaving off. This song is just fantastic, and Shakira and Wyclef made for an excellent collaboration. And I can safely say this will be number 11 on this list.
When the sunshine, we shine together. Told you I'll be here forever.
I was going to be mobbed if I didn't mention this. And again, not my favorite Rihanna song, but it's another one that I respect. It's fine enough.
And no, I'm into you, and girl, no one else.
Bet y'all didn't see this one coming. But for me, With You is one of Chris Brown's last good songs, especially after, you know.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna.
This was the perfect song to close out a decade. And I know I've been hard on will.i.am. This might be one of the Black Eyed Peas' best songs in their party era. Before we continue, if you like what you see, go ahead and hit the like button. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. And now, let's continue with the video. Number 1. I mean, duh. Gonna keep this one brief because was it gonna be anything else? It's a song where 3 Stacks is in a bind on whether love is even worth it. An upbeat, happy song that if you dig a little deeper, the song's really depressing. But hey, we don't hear them. We just want to dance as we shake it like a Polaroid picture. But all in all, whether you hear this song, you just smile. This might be one of the best songs ever made, not just this decade alone. So with that being said, Hey Ya by Outkast is easily the best song of the 2000s decade. Tell me what y'all think in the comments below. What are some of your favorite songs to come from this decade? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.